Well, here's the situation, Chris. 8 cars that had pitted under green stayed out and were picked up by the caution car. So they are on the tail end of the lead lap in front of race leader Jimmie Johnson. And they've called off this restart. They're going to go around one more lap.
One thing I don't understand is there's a bunch of cars up here that appear to be arguing over position here, and I'm not sure what's going on.
Tony Stewart in the 14 seems to be one of them.
And Mark Martin. I guess Mark's on the...
Stewart is on the tail end of the lead lap.
And if you're on the tail end of the lead lap, you have choice, but not when you're a full lap down or on the tail end of that lap.
What he means by choice, inside line or outside line.
So I think Stewart thought he should have been the first car on the inside for this restart. Now Ryan Newman, another of the is a lap down car, his teammate just in front. But there are 8 drivers in front of the race leader, who is Jimmie Johnson, because Johnson waited and made his pit stop under caution.
But I think Tony is right. I think if you're at the tail end of the lead lap, you have a choice of where you can start.
Well, you do, but a gentleman's agreement, courtesy, if you're on the tail end of the lead lap and the inside line is open, you should fall to the inside.
Yeah.
So Jimmie Johnson, our leader, is going to restart 9th in the outside row.
But everybody's goal up there at the front is to keep Jimmie Johnson in the 48 car as far back as possible, because he's the leader of the race right now.
And if the caution came out, everybody from Montoya forward would get to come around on the lead lap. And because the pace car would pick up Johnson as the leader.
I just never, this is always so confusing, and I never liked this. I wish there was a better way.
Green flag. Now Johnson's going to have to protect that lead from Clint Boyer, but they're going to have to tiptoe through this race traffic. 3 wide already in 2 places.
I guarantee you, these boys, they got both hands and feet up on the steering wheel right now, trying to keep Jimmie Johnson behind them.
John, how would you like to be the leader of the race and see all of that in front of you? What have I gotten myself into?
But right now, our leader is deep in the field.
Yeah, and he's running a pace as everybody else scrambles to stay up in front of him.
Well, he's just got to drive real cautiously. You know, he can't push it real hard. He's got to let that thing kind of sort itself out a little bit.
Now his teammate Jeff Gordon may have an issue. Matt, what's up?
Mikey runs in 9th, but a problem has developed in the 24 with the clutch on the stop. When Gordon put it in gear, when the crew members were working the left side, the car rolled forward, damaged the side skirting. They lost a little bit of time, but Gordon is going to have to change up a little bit his role on a pit stop. In DW, a lot of people don't realize how much as a driver you perform in that cockpit while you're sitting in the box getting ready to go.
Well, what happens is these clutches are hydraulic. They don't have a rod going into the flywheel like an old car. These things are hydraulic, and that fluid will get hot, and it won't allow you to release the clutch all the way.
Let's have a look at Michael Waltrip. Last lap coming out of turn number 2, the 55.
Got a little loose. Then he got a whole lot loose.
He almost backed right into Paul Menard.
Right.
Gosh.
Now Michael Waltrip in the 55, he actually went a lap down on the racetrack and then went another lap down when he made a green flag stop.
Clear high. Just stay high. Clear to the middle if you need it.
That was the thing.
Clear low.
That was the thing about the way the 2 car was lapping everybody. You just couldn't afford to pit before he did. If you did, you might go a lap down. And here's Jimmie Johnson. He has got his hands full.
Well, he's trying to thread the needle between 2 cars trying to stay on the lead lap. Jeff Burton's 31 and Montoya's 42.
And all these cars on new tires, it's just hard to drive by them.
Now, who has just moved up into 2nd is that 99 car, Carl Edwards. We're riding with him. He just drove by Clint Boyer, so he's now in 2nd. Carl Edwards started in the 29th position. Here he is. He's going to be battling for the lead here pretty quick. I mean, look at the run he got off turn 4 on that 48 car.
This has been Carl's racetrack ever since he showed up here. You got to work hard. You got to be in great shape. You got to be willing to sit there and saw on that wheel all day long. It's a lot like running a slick dirt track.
Well, Darrell, isn't his job right now a little easier than Jimmy's? Johnson has to move the traffic, has to get to the traffic and get him out of the way.
Yeah,
Carl can pretty much pick and choose.
Yeah, he can follow Jimmy through, but I don't think Carl will do that. I think he may try to just get on by and take care of control himself. Because I don't think Jimmy's car doesn't look like it's handling all that great. It's kind of sliding around a lot.
Now Kurt Busch is still in the mix third, Clint Boyer fourth, Martin Truex fifth.
Here he
and
goes.
Denny Hamlin sixth.
That 2 car is the car on the move. He has been all the way up against the wall as Carl Edwards. He takes the lead away from Jimmy Johnson, but may not have it for long with the way that 2 car is moving.
Look at that thing go around the top of that track. In the gas, coming.
Steve?
Well, Mike, DW talking about Jimmy Johnson's car. When that caution came out, Chad Canals told his driver, we're going to take a big swing at this to tighten you up. They put a spring rubber in the left rear spring.
And now's the time to make that big swing early in the race.
And that basically just puts more pressure on the left rear tire. It's just like jacking down on the jack bolt, but you put the spring rubber in, it should tighten the car up.
Now the cars that are in front of Carl Edwards right now that still fighting to stay at the tail end of the lead lap. Mark Martin is up there in the 5. Brian Vickers, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Greg Biffle, Matt Kenseth, and Jeff Burton. He just put Montoya in the 42 1 lap down.
Ooh, Ryan Newman and Kyle Busch.
Just a little chuckle.
Oh, hello.
Now, all of these cars are 1 lap down right now.
He said, you like plain or you like peanut?
That battle was for 18th place. Joe Nemechek has taken his Toyota to the garage. Here's a look at Junior in 10th. Now Tony Stewart is a lap down. Junior is on the tail end of the lead lap, Matt.
And Mike, he's working the bottom. Typically, we always see Junior at places like Atlanta and Michigan just rim riding the old Richard Petty, Harry Gant line. Junior has been loose almost from the get-go. And Junior said, going back to last year, the setup here is like apples to oranges, completely different. Trying something a little bit different that may pay off as they go into a different direction later on in the year. He says the mindset coming in, though, for this place, especially this year and with this tire, you've got to think like you're racing at the old Rockingham or Darlington Raceway.
Yeah, Junior said that the setup in his car this time is totally different than anything he's ever run before.
Kurt Busch has gone to second. He's passed Jimmy Johnson, or excuse me, to third. Clint Boyer remains in the second spot. As after the caution flag, drivers trying to work their way back up to where they were under green. So Kurt is now third, 1.8 seconds off the lead.
You know what I want to explain right here, because it is very confusing, as Darrell said, is why is Kyle Busch, Ryan Newman, Tony Stewart that we saw racing, why are they 1 lap down and the rest of those cars at the tail of the lead lap? Problem is those guys lost a lot more ground through the cycle of green flag pit stops, and that put them behind those guys that made those pit stops under caution. That's the reason they ended up going a lap down, then they got passed on the restart.
Just take your time.
I kind of like the deal that some of the other series do, where if when you get caught like that, you're sent on around and you actually start at the end of the field.
And then the pace car waits for the leader to set them up for the restart.
Exactly. Cleans everything up. It's not so confusing.
But that does kind of give those cars on the tail end of the lead lap quite an advantage getting to come around. It makes it easier to understand, but it would certainly change the strategy of the race. Darrell, take us around with Carl Edwards, the race leader.
Well, let's see where Carl is. Let's listen to the throttle. Watch the RPM. Trying to pass his teammate here, Jamie McMurray. And you can see how hard it is to get under somebody and complete a pass. Going down the back, it's not that long. Drop it down on the bottom. Try to ride that white line. Play with that throttle. Try to get back in the gas as soon as you can and slide up in front of that guy you're racing. It's just a lot of finesse, a lot of wheel, a lot of working the throttle. Takes a lot of finesse and a lot of energy.
11 cars on the lead lap, 5 of them on the tail end of the lead lap, hoping for a caution. Will they get one?
Stay tuned for more NASCAR on Fox.